So we've finally done a Born to Be Wide A&R night. It's something that people have been asking for ages. I had a really clear idea of who I wanted for it, and I got all but one, but he couldn't attend for very good reasons. But I think it's been a fantastic night. We've had some really interesting and diverse viewpoints, and really quite entertaining stories as well, which is what we really want in Born to Be Wide. It's not meant to be super serious. You can find out about stuff in an entertaining way, and I think it's worked out. I think it's worked out brilliantly. A&R is quite a broad term. How many of you, and you don't be afraid to put your hand up, don't really know what it means or what it's about? That's good. I guess there's quite a lot of liars in here, yeah. So any of you read this book, Kill Your Friends?
Oh, it's fucking annoying, that book.
It's basically American Psycho meets the music industry, and it's only £3 in FOP, yeah.
It's basically a bunch of London wanks talking about each other in a really annoying way.
There are some little truths in there, I find.
Yeah. The expenses. A&R means artist and repertoire, just in case anyone doesn't know. I only found that out a few years ago, and let's say I suppose things have changed dramatically through the years, and all the years that I've been doing the job, and obviously I started off as a scout, and that was, to be honest, when I had the most fun, and that was when you literally you got given a motor, and you would just like drive about. You would go to studios, you would go to rehearsal rooms, you would meet people, so forth, and just anyone that was putting on gigs, so forth. You would get your face known. I think now it's a lot harder. I mean, I think at one point, like Universal had almost 15 to 20 people just like on MySpace constantly, like fucking robots. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, Radio 1's a real problem as well, because now with the whole social networking thing, I don't think they listen to the songs. They actually look to see how many hits you've got on fucking Facebook, or how many friends you have before they listen to the song.
Hiya, I'm Kenny McGough. I work for Sony ATV Music Publishing, Sony Records and Columbia Records, and I've been up here doing a talk with Olaf the Barbarian, and it's been on A&R and how people can find out a bit more about how the business works and so forth. And we've had I think a pretty successful night, and lots of good questions, lots of people handing in lots of demos and showing that there's a nice vibrant music scene happening in Edinburgh.
What do you do, Yvonne?
I think basically my job involves you have to know what's going on, and you have to know what's been talked about, you have to know what's selling out. And just basically everything to do with what's happening in any scene. So it's just basically about travelling around the country, going to see as many gigs as you can. But I think with the social network thing and stuff like that, and with the media as well, like blogs and radio, you tend to kind of spend a lot of time doing research. So it's I always say I'm like a private investigator. So it's just really, you need to know what's going on everywhere, and then you pick up on things that your managers will like.
Hi, I'm Yvonne McClellan. I'm the regional scout for Island Records, and tonight was very good. It was very interactive and informative. I think before I had been talking about that I really wanted to see an A&R panel, because I think sometimes it's something that's kind of glistened over, so it was good to actually hear some of the stuff that was going on tonight. This is my first official Born to Be Wide seminar night here. I've been to see the Born to Be Wide guys up at Go North and in various other places, but this is my first official visit, and it's been good.
So which bands have you kind of put in their direction recently?
Well, the first one that got taken on was Kids Adrift, and then I think with my updates they get filtered through the company, so it's not just my direct manager, it'll be like the whole company will kind of pick up on things. So it wasn't my manager that signed Kids Adrift, so it got taken on by someone else. And then the next one was Midnight Lion. And then obviously I kind of help out and do stuff with like Peril and the Puppets and stuff like that. So, and there's one just now that I'm quite interested in.
Who?
I can't tell you.
Get him to sign the publishing.
Yeah.
Hannah, what happens with you? I mean, you're obviously. Do you have scouts as well, or are you expected to do it all yourself?
Excel's a much smaller company than the major labels, and we don't have as much budget for regional scouts, but I try to plug into people regionally who might want to do a bit of scouting for free. Maybe they're trying to get into A&R, and for them it's almost like they're doing work experience at Excel, but they're doing it from somewhere other than London. So I might plug into a few people like that, but on a much more casual basis. Because Excel is a much smaller company as well, we don't tend to sign that many acts per year. So our need to kind of be on top of new stuff and to be signing stuff isn't quite as much as the other labels. But having said that, we obviously don't want to be missing anything. So we don't want to miss that key act. I'm Hannah. I'm the A&R director at Excel Recordings. I do A&R and I product manage my own band's album campaigns from start to finish.
People spend a lot of time writing songs, especially as a publisher, they spend a lot of time writing songs. And to be honest, I've dealt with some fucking maniacs, right? I've had pizzas sent to my house with CDs in it. I've had a cake sent to my house. I've had a geezer actually fucking outside my front door. What,
shagging outside your front door?
No, I think all that.
That's one way to draw attention.
You should be born to be wild. It's basically sending demos to my house, and like one time we even phoned my mum up. You know what I mean? It's talking about my mum.
Where's the drugs?
He wanted to buy some gear.
He's long overdue, that fucker.
Yeah, she ripped him off. But no, it was literally, but to be honest, it does freak me out because it's like, for example, I signed The Enemy as well, and that actually came through one of my mates who had got in a bit of trouble, and his social worker was one of the guys from The Enemy's social worker, and he gave him a demo which got passed on to me, and I signed them straight away. So it's like, things like that are quite random.
I think nowadays the savvy band won't send in an unsolicited demo, whether that's a physical CD or an unsolicited email to an A&R manager. So I don't think that is the right way for your band to get started. I think it probably leads us on to other issues about if you are a new band or a singer-songwriter or an artist, how to get started is to kind of build up your grassroots and your fan base and kind of get your attention through other means, through the media, and then once you've reached a certain level and you're good enough, then it's the time to get your music to the record label.
I'm really glad you said this, because I think this seems to be something that comes up a lot, and it's like, build up your fan base, do this, do that. Do you look at a sort of band having a fan base and being on blogs and things? Because it seems like a lot of the time, especially acts from Scotland, come out of nowhere, and then other acts that have been
that's because usually they've got good songs.
I think you don't have to necessarily build up a big live following. Kind of getting going, it means developing your sound as well. So you might not be an artist that's suited to a live following, and Calvin Harris is a good example of that. That came much later for him. But he obviously spent time working on his songs. He got managers, and that's how his music came to Kenny and got signed. Is
there a time when you're ready to approach an A&R, or when are you ready to do it?
I think when you've developed your sound and when you're really, really good. How
do you know though? Because I know lots of people that think they're good and they're not really. Yeah.
Well, when you've got great songs, when you don't sound like anyone else, when you've created your own sound and you've got it all sorted out. A lot of writers and artists start off and they imitate other people, but through that imitation, they kind of find themselves and they find their way. And
Oasis are still trying to find that way.
Well, yeah, they lost their way, so I don't know. But I think you've got to keep going, and you've got to be sure that you're on. Well, from an Excel point of view, anyway, you need to be on an artistic path, and you need to be treading your own path and leading it rather than following it.
What's a good way for artists to engage with you or to try and get your attention? I mean, should they be sending you cakes or
No.
shagging in your garden or CDs and
Buy
pizzas?
drugs off your mum.
It's a kind of tricky one, right? I mean, I put myself out there. I'm on all the sites. I say I'm looking for stuff, and I'm quite happy to accept demos from anyone. What I do ask of the bands, though, which I think is very important, is that they do their homework. Don't contact me if you're a screamo heavy metal band, because that's not what Island are about. So it's about, you know, targeting the right people. So do your homework, find out where your home would be, and that's the people you should be targeting. And it's tricky about the whole, you know, building up your fan base and all that. That's all fine. Yeah. But if you hear something and you automatically it connects with you, then you're going to chase it. And I think A&R people do like the chase. So I think with bombarding you every day or like every week, it's going to kind of turn people off. It's like, make yourself known, but don't kind of overstep the mark.
Basically, every band has. They have a manager, whether it be a heavyweight manager or some kid or whoever that's one of their pals. And then a really important thing is getting a good lawyer. Now, any lawyer that's worth their, you know, for me that's worth their, you know, worth their weight is a lawyer that will help get you to, you know, people like you know, people like myself, all of us. You know what I mean?
How do you sort of gauge it with bands when you're sitting down? Have you ever been put off signing someone just because you just didn't get on with them or you didn't like them?
I don't think I've ever been put off signing anyone because I don't like their personality. But
have you signed anyone whose personality you didn't like?
Actually, we're really lucky at Excel. We work with some really nice people.
Everyone's nice, yeah. Right.
They are, genuinely. But at the same time, a good working relationship has people on different sides working together. So I'd hope that anyone we work with, even if they aren't a nice person, wants to maintain a good working relationship, because we're a good label, they'll be a good artist if we sign them. But I don't think I've actually been put off anyone because they've not been very nice. But I've met plenty of not nice people in my time. There's lots of them in the music industry, weirdly.
I think you've got to rise above that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, somebody said to me when I first started, who is one of my bosses, Mike Smith, who's the MD of Columbia, and he signed like The Verve, Blur, this is for publishing, The White Stripes, Primal Scream, Marianne Faithfull. He's just like a fucking living legend. You know, he spent the past week with Bruce Springsteen, you know what I mean? In his house writing on the notepad. It's like, he's a total dude, and he was like, you know, to be honest, he says, you know, A&R's like, it's 90% people, you know, just dealing with people, and it's 10%, you know, loving music and, you know, doing the job because you care about music and you do it. But the most important thing is being able to get on with people. I mean, as I say, I just didn't really like Keane, but that's a one-off. You know, I'm not particularly associated with Block Party. I wouldn't go to Celtic with Block Party or go for a pint. Do you know what I mean? But we get on really, we get on well. So you kind of adapt and you change. Whereas with Kasabian, I'll get fucking leather for 3 days. You know, so it's just like you kind of adapt and change. The priests, I just go to confession.